3. Remember, we're still going to follow our PEMDAS, okay? We're still following our PEMDAS. So looking at number 3, what are we going to do first?
Parentheses.
Yes, parentheses. Which parentheses? So we're going to work on the 8 plus 1 squared, so 8 plus 1. Okay, and we're going to continue working inside those parentheses. So we've got 2, and then 8 plus 1 is 9. Times 2 divided by 6. And then we've got 9 times 2, which is 18, divided by 6. 18 divided by 6 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay? Okay. How do we start the next one? Hmm?
So funny. Is that pass? Yeah. Class? Well, what's that? Wow.
Yeah.
Come on, Patrick.
We didn't go over it yet.
Always do it at the beginning of class.
We didn't go over it.
Always do it at the beginning of class. Okay, next one. Najee, what do I do on this one? Which parentheses?
1 minus 1.
Okay, so we've got 5 divided by 5 minus 1 is 0. Okay, and then we've got 6 times 2 over 6. Okay. Austin, what now?
The multiplication.
Which multiplication?
The one on 6 times 2.
Okay. So we get 12. Ethan, what now? Manuela, what now?
I just did 5 minus 0. And I did 5 over 5. I simplified it so much.
Okay. So this becomes 1. 12 over 6 is 2. So we get 3. Boom, we're done. Okay? Okay. So yesterday we went over the functions worksheet. Okay, we just finished the order of operations worksheet. Let's see, what other worksheet do we have? Let's see here. Did we do the slope worksheet?
Yeah. Oh, yes, yes, yes.
We did. Okay. All right, and this was last night's homework. Okay. Okay, so when we are graphing, make sure on your midterm that you read the instructions. You have to use the method that I indicate. So this one, I'm asking you to graph using the slope-intercept method. Without actually telling me how to do this particular problem, I want you to tell me how to graph in general using the slope-intercept method.
Y mx plus b.
Y equals mx plus b. What does that mean to me? I don't know what that means. Y equals mx plus b.
X is a slope.
X is the slope?
M is.
I thought x was a variable. Yes, Austin, m is the slope.
Oh, never mind.
M is the slope. So what do I do with that? You just told me y equals mx plus b, and then you told me m is the slope. So how do I actually graph using slope-intercept method? Najee?
Use the y-intercept, which is 5.
Now, don't tell me with this problem. In general, how do I know what the y-intercept is?
It's usually on the added number.
The added number, Ethan?
It's on the y axis.
Okay.
It's the number without a variable.
It's the number without a variable. So using the y equals mx plus b, what's the y-intercept?
The B.
The b. Y-intercept is the b. So what do I do with that y-intercept, Cam? Say again?
Well, I didn't say anything.
What do I do with that y-intercept?
You have to have it by itself, right?
Okay. No, don't laugh. It's not funny. Yes.
You graph it on the
You graph it on the
y-axis.
y-axis. Now, some of you were confusing the x and the y-axis. It's labeled. That's your y-axis. Here's your x-axis. It's labeled. Okay? So we find our y-intercept. In this case, the y-intercept is 5. So I put that on my y-axis. Michael, don't tell me how to do this problem, but in general, once we plot our y-intercept, what do we do next? How do I find the slope? That's after I find the slope. Where do I find the slope in the equation? Ethan.
Right in front of the x.
And what is that in front of you? What's that called?
Rise over one.
That's the y equals mx plus b. So it's the m. M is the slope. Okay, so I find the slope, that's the m. That is the rise over run. Patrick, what do I do once I find the rise over the run? Once I find the rise over run, what do I do? This is why the homework is due at the beginning of class, because you don't pay attention because you're doing your homework during class. Right? MJ, once I find the rise over run, what do I do with it on the graph? So I go up based on the rise. Can I go down? Yeah. And then what's the run? Left or right? How do I know whether to go left or to go right? Leilani, how do I know whether to go left or right? So what's the negative tell me?
That one of the numbers are
Okay, so
negative slope
if I'm running, which way would I go with negative?
to the left.
To the left, yeah. Okay. Okay, so this one has a slope of negative 1/4. So I could go negative 1 over 4, or I could go 1 over negative 4. Okay. So I can go down 1 and to the right 4. Okay. Now, after you graph it, because sometimes those negative slopes get a little confusing. So after you graph it, look at the slope again. Okay, this is a negative slope. Is that line representing a negative slope? Yes, it is. If I graphed it incorrectly, like let's just pretend that my graph went like this instead, right? When I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's a positive slope. It's supposed to be negative. So you know you plotted your slope incorrectly. Okay, so take time to think. Don't just fly through the answers, right? The goal here is to actually learn it, not to get the right answer. The goal is to learn it. So don't just fly through scribbling down answers. Take time to think, right, Nico? What are you going to take time to do? There you go. Think, think, think. Okay, next one. We are graphing using slope-intercept form. Ethan, do you have a question or an answer?
That was a question for right above.
Yes.
You said, so you're basically saying you can put the negative on the 1 or the 4?
Right, so we chose to put it on the 1.
Okay, that's awesome.
So we went down and over to the right. If I chose to put it on the 4, we would go up So up 1 and left 4. So if I went up 1 and left 4, my point would be right there, and I'd get the exact same line. Different point, but the same line. Okay? Okay. Next one. Let's see here. Walker. What do I do?
The circle on -1.
Okay, am I doing it on this axis going across on the y-axis? -1 right here. Good job. Okay, and then what?
And you go up 4 and over 5.
Which way do I go over? To the right. Good. Up 4, over 5, and here is my line. Don't forget to put your arrows on the ends of them. Is that line representing a positive or a negative slope? Positive. And should I have a positive or a negative slope? Positive. This is a positive number, so it should be a positive slope. Okay. Okay. Number 3. So here we're graphing using the x and the y intercepts. Okay. So remember, you're going to follow the directions. If you graph this using the slope intercept method, I will count it wrong. No partial credit on this. You have to use the correct method. Okay. So the x-intercept, all I have to do is cover over the y, and I have 2x equals 12, which means x equals -6. Michael, what do I do with that x equals -6? No. Cam, what do I do with the x equals -6? Graph it where? On the x-axis. So we go over to -6 on the x-axis. Thank you. Okay. Okay, D'Angelo, what do I do next? I want the y-intercept. Angel, how do I find the y-intercept?
You have to put 6y equals 12.
Yeah, cover over the x. So now I have 6y equals 12, so y equals 2. And what do I do with that, D'Angelo?
You're going to graph that on the y-axis.
On the y-axis. Very good. So there's my 2 points. I only need 2 points. And there's my line. Okay? If you're not doing math, please put the other work away. Okay. Questions on that? Need our x and y intercept. Leilani?
I did that, but I still ended up doing that. Oh, never mind.
Okay.
I made it into slow, so I can't do that.
Not if I specifically ask for the x and y intercepts. Okay. If I simply said to graph it, you could do it any way you want. Okay. Okay. Number 4, we're graphing this inequality. So we're going to do the same exact thing with the addition of what?
Greater than
Which means, what do we do on the graph? Shade it. We have to shade it. Okay. So looking at this one, I didn't tell you a particular method, but looking at this equation, it looks like it's going to be easier to use my x and y intercepts.
Yep.
Okay, because the reason I say that is that 12 is divisible by 3 and by 4. So it's going to be pretty easy to use my x and y intercepts here. So our x-intercept, we're going to cover over the y. So I'm ignoring the inequality right now. So 3x equals 12, which means x equals 4. So I'll put that on my x-axis. Okay. And then I'm going to do the y-intercept, so I'll cover over the x. So 4y equals 12, so y equals 3. So I'll put that on my y-axis. Okay, so see how easy that one was, right? I could move it around and put it in slope-intercept form, but it's really easy to work with it in this form right because of the numbers. Okay.
Would you put a dotted line since it's there's no line?
Yes, it's going to be a dotted line. Very good. Manuela?
So if you were to put it in slope-intercept form, is that wrong?
No, it's not. That would be perfectly fine.
Shade
Okay.
above.
Shade above. Why am I shading above?
Is the greater than sign?
It's greater than. Yes. Okay. And it's going to stay a greater than. Okay. Now, we could always pick a point and test it to make sure that we shade it in the right spot, right? So if we pick a point, I'm going to pick an easy point, so I'll pick 0, 6. Okay, and I can test the 0, 6. So x equals 0, so 3 times 0 plus 4 times 6 is greater than 12. That gives me 24 greater than 12, and that's true. So I feel comfortable with that graph. I know I graphed it the right way. Okay. Okay. Here's another one. Graph the inequality. Kayla, what do I do?
This is one I forgot to do.
Well, that's okay. You can look at it and tell me what to do.
Okay.
Try to get out that.
How do I graph the line y equals 3 halves x plus 5? What do I do first to graph that line?
Did you take that 5
Yes, get the y-intercept of 5. Good.
and then go up 3 over 2?
There you go. Very good. Up 3 over 2, right? Let's pay attention during class so that we can do that. We can be right on top of it. Okay. Adriana, is this a solid or a dotted line?
Solid,
Solid line. How do we know that?
because it's greater, less or equal.
Right, there's an equal sign underneath. Right, so here's my solid line. Okay, let's see here. Annabella, am I shading above or below?
Below,
How do we know it's below?
because of the sign,
Which sign? What are you talking about?
the less than sign.
Yeah, because it's less than, right? Remember, less than looks like an L, right? Less than L. Okay, less L, right? Okay, so this one has additional questions. Is the point 3,2 part of the solution set? Yes, how do we know that, Erin?
Because it's in the
Yes, it's in the shaded regions, perfectly stated. Yes, sir.
My only problem what I have with this, like, does both like actual numbers have to be in the shade or only just the point? If you know what I'm trying to say.
Well, the point includes both numbers.
I'm talking about like say like I try to say -1 and 2, that's in there, right? And then I try to say -9, 7. No. -8, 3.
-8, 3, right there.
No, not that one. The one above. The negative at the bottom. Or like 3 -8. My fault. 3 -8.
3, -8. So down here. So is that in the shaded region? So it's a solution.
All right, that was my like.
This one is not a solution. Okay? Remember, this shaded region goes on to infinity. Okay? Okay, Michael, how about the point 0.05? Is that a solution? Why not? Because it's what? Cam?
Yes, because it's equal to also.
Yes, it is a solution. It's on the line, But since this includes the points on the line, it's a solution. If this was a dotted line, D'Angelo, would it be a solution if this was a dotted line?
No, it wouldn't be because it's not equal to.
Right. Good. Excellent. Okay. Adriana and Layla, is there a problem?
We're talking about the problem.
Okay. What is the question so that we can all?
No,
they just
I was
asked if it
asking
was-
why it was no.
Which one?
The first one.
So why the
But
0.32?
now I understand. I did the problem wrong.
Okay. All right. So please, guys, please feel free to ask the whole class the question because others are probably dealing with the same question. Okay, and that's how we can all learn from each other. Okay. Okay, let's see. Graphing absolute value. We just did these, right? What do we do? What do we do?
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Where's it going to start?
You gotta start at 0, 0.
Start at 0, 0.
You gotta have
So
a
this
dotted
is
line.
okay.
You gotta label it.
And then
You gotta label it. X.
Bro, that's the one I got.
Oh, that's what I got wrong.
I got wrong.
wave absolute value of x, and then what?
You go up 3.
Up 3. There you go.
And
Boom.
then you gotta label it again.
That's all you did.
That's all you do.
I forgot.
That's all you do.
Put that in.
Nico.
Label
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. All right.
Is this graded up to completion?
Is what graded on completion? The homework? No, they're all going to be graded by accuracy.
Oh.
Okay, number 7. Question? Someone had a question?
Can I like get an extra photo of the
Yes.
Maybe resubmit our answers.
Okay. So this is a system of inequalities. And how do we know that? It says system of inequalities, right? That's how we know that. Now we know that because there's more than one inequality. Okay. Both of these, unlike problem number 4, right? Both of these are in slope-intercept form, so that makes it easier to graph. Okay, Annabella, how do I start graphing this?
you're going to do the 3.
What do you mean, do the 3?
You're gonna put the 3 on the Y.
What does the 3 represent? The y-intercept, right? Okay, so there's my 3, right? And then what?
Then you're gonna go down to over 1.
Okay, which way do I go over? Left or right?
You can to the right.
To the right, yes, because I went down 2. If I went up 2, I would go to the left 1, like that, okay? So is this line a solid or a dotted line, Rod?
That one is a dotted.
It's a dotted line, yes. So there's my dotted line. And then, Rod, do I shade above or below?
I shaded that one up.
Why did you shade it above?
Oh, I'm sorry, I meant below.
Angel, please let him answer, because you're not going to take his midterm for him.
No, I did below, I'm sorry.
You did below, and why did we do below?
Because it's less than.
Because it's less than, yes. We're going to do below because it's less than. Okay. D'Angelo, let's do the next one.
All right.
What do we do?
Can you zoom out real quick? Sorry. Okay.
So we just did this one.
Can you walk me through it? This is what I had.
This is the one you had trouble with?
Yes. This one had like all. I didn't honestly try to do it. So
Yes, Aaron, what do you think?
Graph -3.
Right, we're going to graph, we're going to treat this line just like an equation. So we graph -3.
Then you go up 1, right 1.
Good. Up one, right one. Is it a solid or a dotted line?
Solid.
Solid line. Okay.
Wait. Even when it's X, you graph, you go. If it's just X, you go up one and right one.
Yes. So if it's just x, that means the slope is 1 over 1.
So if it was negative X, it's negative one. Negative one.
If it's negative x, it's negative 1 over positive 1. Remember, negative over negative is a positive. So you can't have both of them negative. Okay? And we're shading, where did you say? Above, right? Because it is greater than. Right? So we're shading above. When you do this, make sure that you clearly identify the solution area. It's right where the two areas overlap. Okay? And we're done. Do we have any questions on any of the 4 worksheets that we have done so far? Okay. You should be identifying the types of questions that you have trouble with. Okay. I told you before, when I study for a math test or math exam, and I still have to take exams, right? I do the practice test. Circle the ones I got wrong. Study how to do those ones I got wrong, and then do the test again. And I keep doing that until I get them correct. You'll find, please listen, you will find that you will consistently get the same problems wrong. You can't just keep retaking it. You've got to figure out how to do those problems, then retake it. I'm available during flex, and I'm available after school until 3:15 today. Okay? Yes, Annabelle.
I got put in Henderson, but I need to come here to take my test.
Okay. All right. Okay. I have another worksheet for you.
Bro,